Hey there, everyone. Uh, uh, Come on, America. What the Oh God, no, that was the Oh my God. It's been a week. We haven't done live in a minute, so let's just try to get my shit together. How's everybody doing? So getting several things wrong here. This is actually indie work, but also indie thinking. You know, listen, we've been around a minute, and things change, and so we're in that phase of just seeing what's what. Maybe we shift some things around. I was telling our guests that I'd moved a bunch of files around, so I'm just like, I don't know where I put those things. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Doug Zanger, founder, editor-in-chief of this little schmutz. Our brief is very simple: build a global home for independent agencies. Our mission: serve independent agencies and the brilliant people behind them. Our goal is more visibility for indies and more choice for marketers. We invite you to take a peek at what we're doing. And part of the housekeeping was let's clean up our let's clean some stuff up. So we started this thing a couple of years ago, and this time last year I think we had about 75 80 members. Now we're close to 250 agency members from around the world. Thank you so much for your support. So if you're an independent agency, it doesn't matter what kind of indie you are. We have performance agencies, we have media agencies, we have all sorts of stuff. Consultants. There may be some of you that, let's just say, have been impacted by a holding company, and you decided to go out on your own. We're here for you. Marketers, brand leaders, just get to know us, get to know our member agencies, and then freelancers and creatives. We do have a tier for you. 5 pillars. I'm just blah, 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 blah. But that's not what we're here for. We are here to discuss a really great project. So Gideon and John from Lafayette American in Detroit. All right, gentlemen.
Good. Thanks for having us on.
Of course.
Very good. Very good. It's a little gray in Detroit, but I'm sitting in our office and we've got the ginkgo trees in full green now.
Yeah. So. Detroit's awesome. So I play old man soccer and I play oldish person indoor soccer. And the goalie for our indoor soccer team so 3 weeks ago, he said, we're going to Detroit. I said, oh my God, you're going to love it. And I hadn't seen him until he came back. And the first words out of his mouth, he said, you are 100% right about Detroit. It's awesome. so
it is awesome. I play on a youngish indoor soccer league. So we'll have to have you guys come over.
Yeah. Bad knees, bad hips. I got an Achilles that doesn't want to cooperate. So, get ready for it, Gideon.
I'm ready.
But what we're going to get ready for here, professional broadcast segue. Butterfly Superhighway. Now, this thing is I don't even know where to begin, so I'll begin with the beginning. So, what is this, and why did the agency decide to take it on? I'm really curious. I know we've awarded this. It was number 5 in our top 40. It's done really well on the awards circuit, but we haven't had a chance to really dig in to discuss it. So give us the backstory.
Yes. Okay. Well, I mean, this has been 3 years in the making. Right. It's a wacky idea. but I think it strikes at a kernel of truth, and it's an important story about biodiversity. And I think it also represents us really well as an agency. Like I said, these ginkgos right here, we're infused with nature here in Detroit, which might surprise some people, but it's true.
Oh,
And
it's very
we've
true.
got like birds everywhere. Birds are a big iconography of our office. Then we have the scorpion rose, which is less natural, and then we have all sorts of things. But the monarch, I mean, I think it originated maybe 3 years ago when we're in the office and they were jokingly talking about building a butterfly superhighway across America because filling it with milkweed. And then all of a sudden everyone thought, oh, that's actually a really bad name, milkweed. We need to change that. And we're brand builders. So we said, okay, what do we change that to? So then we started to think of ideas and crowdsourcing. I mean, it's been done before, that sort of name change. I think Chilean sea bass was like originally called Patagonian toothfish. So
Yeah,
we thought we could do it ourselves.
yeah. There's a section, there's a little region north of Boise that didn't have a name, and they called it, I think they called it like the Payette Valley or something like that. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and there's lots of things that need a little help in nature, and branding can be one of them. So that's kind of how it originated.
Okay. John, you've been involved with this, and we had talked about this, that this has been going on for a few years, and the design changes. So let me go back, because this was the design from 2004, and then now we're here, 2005. So, oh my God, look at that. I love this. But let's go back. Let's go back over here and talk a little bit about the evolution of all of this design.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be a part of all 3 years of it. Kind of like Gideon was saying, it was pitched in our office of different ideas. We have lots of these things floating around. But this one came with the butterflies actually kind of need the extra the help to,
Right.
because this is the only plant that monarchs use to lay eggs, and so it's an ongoing issue we were discussing. And so each year is kind of evolved in a different way. So the first year was just, let's make sure that we're creating awareness, getting that information out there, and then creating something beautiful to grab that attention. And it was really well received. We had a lot of fun doing it, but we knew the next year, the one we're looking at right now, we wanted to get people more involved and kind of engage people even more. And so we took the approach of, we built a website that lets people see the actual journeys. We took some of the migration paths and worked with a really great partner, Echo Charlie, to build an interactive map where you can see the actual places that they're seeing, whether it's a city street or a field in the middle of nowhere, and just helping people understand that it's a challenging journey in general.
Right.
And so we wanted to get people involved, but we also learned from that first year that the name keeps people away from understanding the beauty that the milkweed plants actually are.
Like monarch munchies.
And so we also got people engaged by having them vote for different names.
Got it. Right.
On the website, in this idea that we could create something completely different to build up some momentum for planting this milkweed. And then this year on Earth Day, we released 3 of the top names, which were Milky Way, Butterfly Landing, and Monarch Milk, which are all great names. We were excited about them and kind of the visuals that they did. But with that, we also wanted to just rethink how they could be perceived, even through a seed packet design. Each year we're sending these to people. Alexander Gerard, someone that comes up frequently in conversations for all of our projects, but specifically a story about, as a kid, he would create these worlds almost unaffected by anybody else. His parents just let them create these beautiful spaces. and obviously there's inspiration from like the simple forms that he did, the elegant color pairing. But we really like this idea that we could have a whole new name for this and create a whole new perception and a whole new world for these packets. And so we went much more vibrant, trying to get that attention. And then showing also like highlighting that these plants can be beautiful too. So it's not pushing them further away from that stigma of a weed.
Right. And here's the other thing too, is the evolution of this has been really interesting, because last year was a little more ornate, and this feels a little bit more mainstream's not the right word for it, but you know what I'm saying, where it has like this impact. The iconography is really interesting. So you're building a system as opposed to simply a design. And I'm curious about some of the conversations that you were having. Like, okay, we have these names now. Now, design wise, where should we go with this? Because obviously you weren't going to do what you did the year before, but what were some of the considerations as you were building this out?
Yeah, we typically start from scratch when
Right.
every year, kind of sharing ideas or different approaches to this. This year was, the names came in and they were all really fun. Like we had a bunch of
were you sitting there going, please don't let it be this name, please don't. Were you hoping?
No, I mean, there was some on there that were definitely a little bit more out there than others, but all of them with an interesting solution for the design. And so,
okay, good.
The ones that were
you
chosen
didn't put yourself in a corner.
Yeah, the ones that were chosen, we're all really excited about, but they definitely lended themselves to be more playful in a lot of ways and a little less serious. And I think that also helped with moving it away from a weed or having the negative connotations.
Right.
And so we just leaned into that here and just made it much more vibrant, much more bold, and continuing just to try to grab attention, maybe moving away from like some of the traditional seed packet tropes and into something that feels a little bit more fresh.
Well, and the other thing too is, let's think about this. Let's think about the audience, right? Where you have something like this, who's probably going to be most attracted to this design? Who's going to be attracted to something a little bit more playful? Probably kids. Probably the kids telling their parents, hey, we need to do this. Because let's be honest, I believe that children are our future. Let them grow and let them lead the way. That's the greatest love of all. But it's interesting to me because it does. This feels very accessible. And again, I think last year's was it was beautiful, a little more ornate, a little more considered. This is something that feels like a little bit more, okay, everybody, let's go. So I'm curious about the thinking, because again, if my kids saw that, they'd be like, hey, we need to do this.
Yeah. And it's actually funny because during I don't know if it was the second or first year, we were actually raising some butterfly eggs with my kids during the process of this, which was a fun time to kind of be a part of that process and be designing for it. But yeah, they're definitely, I have a ton of these seed packets laying around my house and they're definitely attracted to it. But I think through the simplicity, and similar to Alexander Gerard, there's still something really elegant and beautiful about it, that it kind of can be approached by anybody. And I think that's where you can get a younger generation excited about something, but also be engaging to anybody is a great result in that design process.
Exactly. Gideon, I want to talk about this a little bit, and I know that you have some show and tell for us. So this isn't, I mean, it's not about plants, it's about biodiversity. We've talked a little bit about why it matters, but I'd like you to talk about, just using your show and tell, some of the things that have stood out. What, engagement, momentum, what's working, what's been surprising. So walk us through some of those pieces.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think biodiversity is a personal passion of mine, but also the agency, it means a lot to us, and it's a wonderful story. So I think monarchs are they're known as an iconic pollinator. And that's poignant today because it is actually World Bee Day today. And there are 20,000 types of bees, but all we think about is the honeybee. So, and maybe a bumblebee
Right.
here and there.
Right.
So I think they're important pollinators to bring attention to because, I mean, Doug, have you ever heard of the windshield effect?
I have not. Please continue.
So windshield effect is something that kind of came about in 2017, and it's stemming from this idea that like when you were younger, a lot more bugs would hit the windshield.
Oh.
And you'd see a lot more kind of when you got out of the car that your car would be splattered with bugs.
Right.
And people were starting to notice that that didn't happen anymore. And I don't know if that's happening for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, how often are you spraying down your car and you see lots of bugs on it?
In Oregon, quite a few.
Well, that's good.
Right. Right.
So I think this study comes from the UK, and it just sort of identified the fact that there was a overwhelming loss of insect biodiversity. And for us, I think it's important to bring attention to that, and also kind of tell people that, you know, that aren't aware of all those important insects, because they're easy to miss until they're not.
Right.
And then what do we have left? So I think Milkweed is a great story, and I this is my only show and tell, is I bought some Milkweed here, which is dried out, and it's a very beautiful plant, and I just think it needs to be shown as such, and have a great name. But so the plant that we use, or the type, there's 70 types of milkweed, and we use just the common milkweed, which is kind of native to all across America except for California, I think.
Okay.
So I mean, that's the story. I think it's just important to share, you know, the biodiversity in general, and not just focus on iconic pollinators like the monarch and honeybees.
Right. So I mean, I looked at the map earlier. Are there certain parts of the United States where it's more of a priority to be planting? And the reason I'm asking is, like, let's get some members in some of those markets. Let's get them some seed packs.
Yeah. So Michigan, obviously, for us. I mean, these monarchs travel from Canada to Mexico every single year.
Got it.
And they lay their eggs on milkweed, and then they also feed off of nectar all across, and almost all nectar plants monarchs will go to. So that's why they're such great pollinators. So I think for this project, we've sent out 900 packets this year, which is amazing. We've got wonderful feedback. People take pictures of them planting all the time. It's a great showcase for John's design work and the creative work behind all of this. And I think it's made a difference as well. I mean, I think I see milkweed all the time in Belle Isle here in Detroit. And I know when I first planted the seeds, I got maybe 3 years ago, you know, I see them in my garden now, and I see monarchs there every year. So you can really see the impact. I mean, it's like Field of Dreams. Like if you build them, they'll come. So
that's, yeah. I get that. Let's talk. Now, there's a nonprofit in Detroit talking about rewilding. Tell us a little bit about that, because, you know, we did mention that, you know, Michigan, and listen, as a native Minnesotan, we would vacation in Michigan. Winter, we went up to Iron Mountain. We'd go up to the Upper Peninsula for some reason in February, which somebody got a deal, I guess, because it's cold at Iron Mountain in February. But yeah, I mean, you know, going to places around like Ludington and that part of Michigan, and it's genuinely a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful state. But let's talk about there is this perception that Detroit is very gritty, does not have the nature that people would perceive. So let's talk about that project you're working on.
So I think that's such a great question, because we've been doing it with clients in the city, with local parks, but also on a personal level with organizations around Core City, which is where our office is. And so on Friday, kind of pre-movement festival, which is a big festival that brings in a ton of people into the city, we're having this kind of get together where we're talking about reseeding this plot of land with this company called Brightside Collective. They're an organization of designers, biologists, freelancers who are all pushing towards this mission of making green spaces vibrant in Detroit, and not just vibrant, but also biodiverse as well. So wild pollinating, and how can we plant milkweed, but also all types of pollinating plants too. they do an amazing job. And there's so much in this city. There's so many urban farms in this city. There's so much green space to work with. And I think we just need to do a better job. And Brightside Collective is doing an amazing job about teaching people about that. And I hope that as a partner, we can kind of do the same.
So do you have an urban farm, Gideon?
I don't have an urban farm because I live in an apartment building. But
oh, okay. So I was going to ask the chicken question. Do you have chickens? John, do you have chickens?
I have plans to get chickens, but I do not currently.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I want to get a beehive because I've done.
Oh yeah, you can do that
in the previous.
Yeah,
so
you could totally
that's an urban farm.
Yeah. No, that works. That works. John, I want to throw this over to you, and we'll wrap this up here in a second. What would you say to other agencies, and especially indie agencies, and you go around, especially our membership, but even outside of the membership, there's a lot of purpose-led work happening. There's a lot of very purposeful work. Some of it is for brands, specifically for profit, which is okay. It's a profit doing good can be a good thing. My voice went up high about that. That's me trying to make a serious point. But for projects like this, what would you say to an agency, number one, that maybe hasn't done it before, that it would be good to get into? And number two, what would you say to an indie that maybe is working on this, but deprioritizing it because of, stuff going on in the world, shall we say? So what would you say to that, John?
Yeah. I truly feel that like design is such an incredibly powerful tool.
Yes.
Where we're able to see the problem, come up with ideas, and truly be a part of it, that solution. And I think we're uniquely positioned to be able to create those solutions. In our case, it's pretty straightforward. It's building awareness and planting seeds and encouraging others to do that. But what's exciting is about different agencies seeing different problems and being able to continue to do that. And what it really is great at is showing the agency culture and the values. And then the clients that you work with end up seeing that and understanding who you are better and creating better partnerships in the long term as well.
Right. No, that makes all kind of sense. Gideon, your perspective on that.
I don't think I could say better than that. I think
just say cosign then. Jesus.
Cosign. And I would say that, like, and I said this when we were speaking before, is like, what is good design if it's not designing for good? And there's a certain amount of joy that comes with this project, and the whole agency feels that, and then everybody that's sent a package feels that too. So
how many packets can you send to me?
Did you not receive yours?
No, I'm saying, like, send me a box of them because I can give them away as like prizes.
I'll send you a box, and then I'll bring some to Cannes as well. I don't know if they're endemic to native France, but
I think they might have
a whole box.
Yeah, it's like, this is not possible. You cannot bring in.
Most likely. Yeah.
This is not possible. No, this is look, this is exciting, and I think the other part of this too is just keeping it refreshed and building on this. And I feel like that this is such a really unique way into it. And again, I just love this iconography. It's
amazing.
It's so good. It's so John, round of applause to you, my man, and your team. Anybody you want to shout out on your team?
Oh, it's a big team.
Just say everybody then.
But truly though, there's a lot of people involved, and everybody had such a big impact on it. I really appreciate everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's excellent. It is excellent. Anything shameless promotion, Detroit, we want to talk about? It is a really remarkable place.
Beyond just come here and see it, and also keep it a secret. And come visit us in Core City. That's all I got to say.
So the last time I was there, so I went to get my car, and I think it was a Challenger, like with a scat pack. And I was telling my son, 16 years old, about it. And so which highway is it on the way into Detroit? Whatever interstate that is. It's wide. And let's just say that there were really no cars near me. I may or may not have let that car go for a little. I may have opened it up a little bit. And whoever's closest to the miles per hour I hit, please, you will win a prize. So, Gideon?
I think all roads lead to Detroit. And I'd say you're probably going at least 85.
John?
I'm going 3 digits. 115.
118.
Oh my God. I think that just prove to everyone that I'm a really old man driver. But
usually I am. And here's the thing. It's like I pressed on the pedal and I looked down. Next thing I know, I'm like, I'm going 90. I didn't even try. I was like, all right, well, let's just see what we can do with this thing. But seriously, Detroit is just one of these cities, and my family's from the Philadelphia area, that, hardworking, great food, great people. It really is a very, very special place. And you all, and I'm not trying to suck up, but I'm going to, you all are very special people because you are a part of this mission and we very much appreciate it. So on behalf of everybody here at Indie Agency News, congratulations on a successful next step on all of this. Thanks for your support, and hang out backstage with me when I wrap it up. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thanks, Doug.
All righty. Really good work. Really, really good work. So I know we talked about doing an Indies only summit, and we were talking about doing one in Detroit. I was talking to Adam Wilson at Decal. We're not there yet, but 2026, we'll definitely do a show off. We're doing a show off in Cincinnati on the 29th. Curiosity is opening their new space. So we'll share that link on LinkedIn. But here's the thing: if you're in Lexington or Louisville, if you're in the area, come by. We give our members and other indies 5 minutes to share their work. It's a big party. We're going to be celebrating our good friends at Curiosity. Tomorrow, we are going to be launching another award. We have 4 per year. This is the second of 4. It is people-based. It is agency-based. That is the teaser. But I guarantee you it will be a ton of fun. All right, everybody, listen. Keep on keeping on. Have a great day. On behalf of everybody at Indie Agency News, I'm Doug Zanger. See you next time.